So, Rook tutorial for comp. I will upload this as a video later, but I think it's important because obviously in the match we didn't really see that much Rook builds, which are incredibly important. So let's start off with this back corner here. So the first one you want to do is a palisade in the back here, and one here, like that. The other spot is also, actually let's just put this other spot right here, like this. So this does two things, obviously defending from this angle over here, but also with this back corner here, you're much more defensible from the front. So that's super nice. Put your cash right in the front here. So this is the general back setup for this back corner, I would say. Pretty simple. Most of these are pretty simple. It's just people just don't really know what to do, how to do them. So here we go. Next up, we have the other back corner. This one is kind of tough. This back corner here is pretty bad, all things and all. Generally, how I like it is a palisade on the side and a sandbag here to provide extra defense from the front, because this angle is pretty good, but you can still get headshots, so the sandbag helps prevent that. Isn't it extremely easy for attackers to jump over there? It is. It is true, but I'll get to that in a second. I will get to that in a second. It's not that big of a deal if people are jumping over, is because of this image here. So what this image shows is this is the front entrance of your base. These are the side entrances. This is generally how you want to defend. So the people in the back corners are dealing with the front and the opposite side, and the people in the front corners are dealing with the opposite side and the front. There's no arrows, but they also deal with the front. This is the general setup that you're going to be wanting to try to emulate when defending. Now, it's obviously not going to always be like this, but this is kind of like the idea. So if I am in this back corner here, I am mostly going to be focusing on the front side, obviously, and then this side as well, like that. So it doesn't really matter that you can jump over this palisade, because if your teammates, which in a comp setting, you're going to have teammates in a voice call with you, they're going to also be able to be paying attention, so you should be able to defend, even if they try to jump over. So I think it is incredibly important to remember that this is not like a 1v1, or not 1v1, a community server situation where you don't always know if there's people paying attention. In a comp server, you can literally tell people to pay attention to certain sides or have their focus on one side or another. So yeah, this backside here, same thing. Rook cash. Oh, I don't have enough supplies. Amazing. So rook cash in the back here, and that's basically it for this side. Although if you want to be more fancy, you can do barbed wire as well. So you can do one barbed wire here and then another barbed wire here, just to try to stop them from jumping in. So those are the back corners. Now, it is good to mention the back corners are a lot less important compared to the front corners. The front corners are much more important to have people in. Once you lose people in the front corners, it's much easier to push in for several reasons. I think the most important one is, we'll get to that in a second, is specifically using this side wall. So one thing you'll often see comp people do is they will push up against this side wall like this here, and they will try to angle themselves like this. This is a really tough angle to try to defend from. It is a really tough angle to try to defend from, and the only real angle you can defend from this is from this side over here. So once the people on this side are here, your people on this side can very easily push up into this corner like this. Will position Jesse work on those sandbags as a possible strat? Yes, actually. Here, let me switch to that. So precision Jesse is actually not a bad option. Volk is often better, though, because it actually has better accuracy. Even though it has lower fire rate, it has more damage and more penetration. But you can, so that's actually why I put the cache here, is you can actually use it as a stand for your Jesse Precision, and this can wall pen like this, which is super effective. Same thing with the other side. Sandbag's a little bit less effective, but you can also use it if you want. It's not ideal, though. The person who's in this back corner, if possible, should use Volk. Volk is the best option for this corner, though. Volk or Prince. Because you're so liable to getting headshot, you want to have as perfect accuracy as possible, so Volk is always going to be your best option in this corner. Okay, moving on to the front. That. So, first of all, this front corner here. First of all, palisade here, palisade here, and palisade like so. Make sure you angle it though. Sometimes the rocks get in the way, so keep that in mind. But try to angle it like this, like that. So, why like this? Why do I do it like this? There's a few reasons. This front palisade, first of all, using this pillar for defense, very nice. But it's just a bit thin, so if you can see here, my arms, if I'm holding a gun, are peeking out. So people can sometimes still hit you if you're peeking out. So by putting a palisade, now you're fully covered, which is super nice. This palisade is here for a bit of a different reason. So the reason for that is if you're in this corner here, you can actually see that crack there. You can actually shoot through that crack there and hit people. So that palisade there is specifically specifically made to prevent people from shooting through that crack. Because that crack is very annoying. See, like here? So look at that. Look at that little small peak there. If people try to cross that to say defend and they're not paying attention, they can very easily get headshot. So palisade there prevents that. This palisade also prevents this angle here. So obviously this crack here also be shot from that side over there. So it also prevents from there. So from here you can also but you can still use it as yourself because you can shoot through this. So you can shoot through this defending, but you can't be shot back. Super nice. Now finally, the reason why this is angled is because if it was straight, this little crack here would be too small to really be able to squeeze through. So you have a little crack like this, like that. You can shoot through. I'm actually going to switch off Jesse Precision because it kind of sucks. Anyways, so those are the reasons for those 3 palisade placements. Next, finally, I would usually put sandbag like this. And then what you can also do is you can put barbed wire a little bit like this. So this still lets you do like angles like here if you need to be. But if they try to push in, it's much more difficult because they have to deal with this barbed wire. So in general, though, this is your general setup for this front corner. It's like this, so you can see. Angles like that. So this that's this front corner. Now, this front corner, pretty good. But it's the other front corner that's much stronger, in my personal opinion. And is definitely the strongest corner on Empire side. Which is pretty funny. So, first up, palisade, same spot as the other side, right behind the pillar. And for the exact same reason, to just make the pillar a bit wider. Finally, so palisade here, palisade actually here, like this. Interesting spot. Why do I do this? Well, for a simple reason. This angle here. So if you're all the way on that side over there, you can actually shoot all the way over here to people who are standing here. This palisade prevents that, letting you basically get some extra shots in. What it also does is, if you're shooting from this corner over here, it prevents this angle like that. Because that's a really annoying angle. So what ends up happening is, if I destroy this, I do this, there's a little bit of an angle right there. And depending on the angle of these stones, sometimes you can actually get a peek there all the way to the back. So that front palisade stops that. There. Anyways, moving back. So palisades here. Cache. I didn't mean to do that. Cache in the back corner. Like this. And that's basically it for the main defenses. Some optional features are a sandbag like this. Like so. Still lets you shoot through. Look at this micro peek. It's very funny. And other side. The last thing, bit optional, although it is quite dangerous if you do it, so keep that in mind, is this. You can build a barricade up here. It's the only use of barricades on Empire side. They're basically useless everywhere else. What you can do is you can be here and have a very, very good angle on this side here. Do be warned, though, you can be shot from this side very easily. How are you destroying your buildings without the hammer? So if you take your your hammer out, you take your construct out, and you double tap T, it destroys all constructs of that type. It literally says it. It literally says it right here. So, yeah. This is a pretty interesting palisade barricade spot. Do keep in mind it is very dangerous, so only do it if you can be sure that it'll actually come into play. Anyways, now I should, before we move over to Nation, I think it is good to mention that yes, this is meant for comp, but you can easily do any of this in a public server, and it's still effective. Because most of the time in public servers, what they will do is they will only build in this area over here, like in this front area. So for example, if that's already happened, then you can build in one of these front corners, making it very hard to push in, which is super nice. Anyways, I think it's time to move on to Nation, and it's time for me to get some water. Give me 1 second. Okay, Nation is, in general, stronger than Empire. It's much harder to push in for several reasons. Okay, let's start with the back cache corner. So, same thing, palisade here, palisade up here. And then cache in, cache in this corner like that. So, why here? Well, because you can get sniped. So, this corner is a bit weird. You can actually get hit in the helmet from here. It's just high enough. So, even if you're crouching, they can still hit you in the helmet. So, this palisade helps prevent that. Same thing from the front. You can hide in this corner like this. If you scooch up all the way here and look down, then you can actually like do this. Super nice. Hello, Overseer. So you can actually like do this. So if you need to. This cache, like on Empire, can be used with Jesse Precision to basically use as a little bit of a stand. So Jesse Precision is actually really good in this corner specifically. Can be very effective. I've had some public server matches where I've completely held off the enemy using this setup. Okay, other back corner. This one's a bit simpler, kind of. So, first of all, same thing. So, palisade up here. Palisade like this. And then sandbag here. And then I'm going to get supplies. And then cache right here. So, cache in the same spot, like before, because you can use it with Jesse Precision. These two palisades here, just to provide extra defense. This is nice because you can hide behind it, just so even if you're getting pushed, which is super nice. Several times where I've done this, and it's saved my life for various reasons. This sandbag, though, why? Why is this sandbag here? It's a bit weird. So if people are pushing in from this side here, sometimes it can be really difficult to defend them. So this sandbag lets you basically defend this side without necessarily being, like, exposed to both the front and the side. Because, like, if you're angled like this and you're shooting like here, you are very defended from both the front and the side. This also helps with shots from this side, so you can do the same thing you can do here, or you can just have a better angle on the front side. So this sandbag just acts as an extra layer, as well as another place to basically shoot from. So, super nice. So, okay, first of all, this front side. First, palisade here. Palisade right here. And then finally one right here, like that. So, this one's here. So a common strategy that people will do is they will, like I said, on the Empire side, is they'll come peek like this. This palisade basically just helps with defending that just a little bit. And what's really nice is because it's angled like here, it's right in the middle of this barricade, is you can actually shoot through this side right here. So if they push in a bit too much, you can be like, no, don't do that. This palisade is here for that angle. So this little crack here is often something that people try to shoot through. So if I go over here, you'll often see that this angle is a bit of a crack to shoot through, so that palisade basically just stops that. What do you say is the best one to defend? Golden Empire, Royal Nation. Royal Nation is much easier to defend, easily, because of these front barricades, which we'll get to in a second. This side is ridiculous, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, next up, we want a sandbag here. And that's basically it. That is your front corner. Oh, I guess I forgot supplies. So yeah, so cash up in the front corner, like that. So this is your defense. This one's just to prevent if, for example, they push in from the front side. You can use this palisade just to give yourself a bit of extra cover. So like that, and you're good to go. You know, do your peeks. So just other side. This one is very similar, actually. Very similar to Empire, actually. So palisade on the barricade, palisade on this right there, and then one more right here, like that. And then the cache will go right here. So this is the same reason for Golden Empire. It makes the pillar wider so that you're just not being shot. This palisade is here for the same reason as the other side. A common strategy of what people will do is they will go up on this side wall here and try to shoot. That palisade basically completely prevents it, cutting off that entire angle, which is super nice. And then this one here is just to prevent if they push in through the front from doing that. Finally, a sandbag in the front here, just to provide some bit of better defense, helps with explosions, all that. And that's basically your front setup for this corner. This corner is actually really defensible. There's a lot you can do with it. This front peak here is very strong. This front peak is very strong. This front peak is very strong. So there's a lot you can do with this front corner. The final thing I will say before I end this, because I am getting a little tired, is you can actually jump up on this palisade and get a very funny angle here. Now, this is extremely dangerous. I would only do this if you know you can get the shots in, but you can get a very, very good angle on the front side and on the opposite entrance.